And we're back here on Joy News. Joy News, independent, fearless, and credible. Wherever you are watching us, this is the pulse right here on Joy News. And we are live on DSTV channel 421, Gold TV 125. We are all live also on all our social media handles, on X Spaces, on YouTube, on Facebook, and of course, on myjoyonline.com. It's a wonderful time to have you here. My name is Elton Brobe. As we take a look at the major stories making rounds today. In Parliament, the minority slams Attorney General, accusing him of failing to respect the constitutional rights of persons suspected of committing crimes.
We are here this morning to remind the learned Attorney General of the Republic of the constitutional provisions that protect the citizens of the Republic.
We have details plus speak to a member of the minority caucus, and in this case I'm talking about the deputy whip on this and other issues happening within the minority circles. Also this afternoon, the Communications Minister authorizes dismissal of close to 100 staff members of the Ghana Post, citing irregular recruitment process.
And so the rationalization is ongoing. Today I have authorized the termination of a few more at Ghana Post, almost 100. That were done post-December 7th.
More from Sam Nete George, who has been tearing his predecessor over the state takeover of AirtelTigo, which has saddled the state with 3.5 billion cedis debt, plus move to cancel it.
American Tower Company, just one of the companies AirtelTigo owes, brought us a bill of 1.5 billion Ghana cedis.
I'll also tell you why 63 radio stations across the country have had their licenses suspended. The Communication Minister will provide some clarity on this matter. Also, in our crumbling start, pupils of Nalori Presby School in the East Mamprusi municipality narrowly escaped death after their classroom walls collapsed during lessons.
Us were in session, and the KG children were there. So, knowing the weak nature of the structure, I, together with my colleagues, sent all the children to the uncompleted building.
Of course, details in our education series, Crumbling Start, our 6-unit Get Fund classroom project remains incomplete despite several appeals. And of course, now, Ghana Month series, we take you to Fort Partisan and tell you how the people of Agbozumi captured and killed a Danish governor after their chief was slain and their sacristy taken.
Tool was taken from the chiefs. You know, when they came here, they sought permission from the chiefs. And when they are putting up the fort, they realize that they are converting the fort into a slave post.
These, plus many others, coming your way this afternoon here on the Pulse on Joy News with me, Elton Brobe. When we return, we zoom straight to the minority in Parliament. Welcome. We are live on X Spaces, on YouTube, on Facebook, on myjoyonline.com, and of course, around the world. Let's start with Parliament. And because the minority in Parliament, they've slammed Attorney General and Minister for Justice, Dr. Dominic Ayine, accusing him of disrespecting the constitutional rights of citizens suspected of committing crimes. On Monday, the AG spoke to journalists, outlined various offenses allegedly committed by former Director General of the Bureau of National Communication. Addressing a news conference in Parliament today, legal counsel to the minority and Member of Parliament for Swame, John Darkom, accused the Attorney General of media trial and failing to respect the rights of persons arrested.
We are here this morning to remind the learned Attorney General of the Republic of the constitutional provisions that protect the citizens of the Republic. We are here to remind the learned Attorney General of Article 14 of the Constitution, which talks about the protection of personal liberty. We are here to remind him that that provision is still part of our laws. We are here to remind the learned Attorney General that Article 15 of our Constitution, which talks about human dignity, is still part of the laws of this country. Articles 18 and 19 of our Constitution, which deal with the protection of privacy, of home and property, and of course due process, have not been repealed from our Constitution. And for that matter, any person who is given the opportunity as our Learned Attorney General, to enforce our law, must do so within the provisions of this Constitution. The sanctity of these constitutional provisions quoted above, and the duty placed on the Attorney General of the Republic, who also doubles as Minister for Justice, require the AG to ensure that a person charged with criminal offense is protected and presumed innocent until proven guilty by a court of competent jurisdiction or until that person has pled guilty.
Well, the minority say they will not be intimidated by threats of defamation suit and will continue to do their work to put the government on its toes and also ensure accountability and justice.
The constitutional immunity of parliamentarians, when they sought to attack the minority leader, the Learned Attorney General in his presser said, among other things, that the MPs, including the minority leader, cannot use constitutional immunity to defame others. The Learned Attorney General sought to create the wrong impression that the minority leader's presser was done to defame some members of the security apparatus. We see the attempt to belittle the immunity granted to parliamentarians to speak freely on issues of national importance as very, very unfortunate. We are aware that parliamentary immunity is not absolute. We are aware of that. It has its limits. But we shall not be intimidated by threats of defamation suit either from the Attorney General or from his assigns. Has the Attorney General forgotten so soon, since he joined the executive branch, that it is the responsibility of the legislature to hold the executive branch accountable? Has he forgotten? We need to ask him. Because a few months ago, he was a full member of this chamber until he joined the executive. As members of parliament, we shall use the privileges accorded to us under the Constitution to protect every Ghanaian whose right is trampled upon by the executive. The AG must be reminded, as all of us should be, that the purpose of our separation of powers, the reason why we have the executive, we have the legislature, we have the judiciary, is for the protection of the individual liberties.
Right, so this is the minority's official response, if you like, to the news conference held by the Attorney General Minister for Justice, Dr. Dominic Ani, yesterday, in which he updated the nation on some investigations being conducted by his office and some other agencies under the Ministry of Justice. One of them is the ongoing investigation into alleged misappropriation of state funds by the former director of the Bureau, the Signals Bureau at the Ministry of National Security, Ahmed Adu-Boahene. And the fact that the matter is still being investigated, there was a formal response from lawyers for Mr. Adu-Boahene yesterday. Now, at the news conference yesterday, the Attorney General and Minister for Justice also brought in the SkyTrain angle. The allegation is that some $2 million has already been paid to a company and they did not do any work, and for that reason, it constitutes financial loss to the state. The man in question, or the person of interest in the SkyTrain matter, is a former CEO of the GIF, Ghana Infrastructure Investment Program, Solomon Asamoah. The allegation against him is that he's run out of the country and is hiding in Senegal. That's according to the Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Anyine, and also gave him the option to come or he'll be tried in absentia. Now, there's a statement that came through from Mr. Solomon Asamoah this morning, denying that he's run away from the country. And I can just bring you some part of this particular statement. He says he denies the false and incorrect allegation that he's gone out into hiding in Senegal, a West African country. According to him, the claim is entirely inaccurate and untrue. In fact, he says he traveled out of Ghana on Friday, 21st March, just last week Friday, to attend a scheduled board meeting as part of a corporate responsibility that had been planned well in advance. Now, prior to his departure, according to this statement, he had not been present in Ghana for a long period between February and March. Now, during this period, he said he was never contacted for by any government official in relation to an invitation to assist in any ongoing investigation. The statement goes on to say that on Saturday, March 22nd, 2025, a day after his departure from Accra, he was indeed contacted via WhatsApp by an official of the National Intelligence Bureau who requested an online meeting with him, and they agreed to hold that meeting tomorrow, Wednesday, 26 March 2025 at 4 p.m. And this would enable him to respond to any misconception and misunderstanding on any substantive matter related to investments by GIIF. He said throughout his long international career in premier global institutions, he has worked with integrity and transparency. He ends by saying that I have not committed any wrongdoing and I absolutely have no reason to run away. And he says he will return home shortly, after all, to assist with any information necessary to support the AG investigation, which will ultimately vindicate his reputation and integrity. This is a statement coming from Mr. Solomon Asamoah, former Chief Executive Officer of GIIF, and is dated 24th of March 2025. So this is the latest that we have on this matter. Let's stay a little longer in Parliament because the Minister for Communications, Samuel George, says he has authorized the dismissal of close to 100 staff of Ghana Post Company Limited in what he calls a restructuring of the ministry and its agencies. Sam George vowed to streamline the ministry to be effective and drive down operational costs. Speaking to journalists in Parliament, the minister explained that his actions were not capricious, but properly founded.
People have raised questions about the staff rationalization ongoing at the ministry. But if you are a minister and you take over a ministry that has 3,117 staff in the ministry and its agencies, and you realize that almost 600 of them were recruited after December 7. Basically, you cannot expect me to come and inherit such mess and continue with it. And so the rationalization is ongoing. Today, I have authorized the termination of a few more at Ghana Post, almost 100, that were done post-December 7. And we'll continue this rationalization. I will clean up the ministry, make sure it is lean and efficient, and carries out its work.
Well, Sam George has also been tearing into the former Communications Minister, Esla Owusu-Ekufo, for the state acquisition of AirtelTigo. It will be recalled that the former minister claimed that AirtelTigo was acquired for just $1. But Sam George has been describing the decision as reckless, as the country is now saddled with 3.5 billion cedi debt to be paid.
For anyone to have told us that they bought AirtelTigo for $1 and have taken over the ministry, and ATC, American Tower Company, just one of the companies AirtelTigo owes, brought us a bill of 1.5 billion Ghana cedis. 1.5 billion Ghana cedis. That's just ATC alone. Today, the American ambassador was in my office with a team, and one of the major issues was the indebtedness to ATC. The debt sitting on the books of AirtelTigo is in excess of 3.5 billion Ghana cedis. So if someone told you they bought it for $1, who is going to pay the 3.5 billion that's sitting there and growing, accruing interest? And that's why I say those who carried out that action lack any sense of patriotism. Because most of the debt is debt that was accrued by Millicom, which was a private American company running Tigo, and Bharti Airtel, an Indian company. And you know, to show you how irresponsible the actions were, after they have absorbed the company and the debt and put it on the balance sheets of the government of Ghana, now they attempted to drop the assets of the company into a new vehicle, and they were engaging with Bharti Airtel again to let Bharti Airtel come and take the clean company as a new company. Like I said, the Attorney General has work to do because we cannot run a country like this.
Right, so Sam George, as the communications minister, has also announced the suspension of operation licenses of 63 radio stations across the country. According to him, the radio stations were found to be violating some aspects of the Electronic Communication Act, Act 775. So a lot happening within government circles from yesterday up until today, and government says that we'll go ahead to go after those who have misappropriated state funds, and this is just a warm-up. This afternoon, we are joined in the studio by the Member of Parliament for AG Over Adu-Boahene Constituency, Jerry Ahmed. Jerry, good to see you.
Good to see you,
And you're welcome.
Yeah, you're looking good.
You're looking good too.
Thank
the last time we had a face-to-face was somewhere outside of this country. I haven't seen you since.
Yes.
Yeah. So good to see you. And you're welcome.
Thank you.
Right. So your comments are welcome. We are live on X Spaces. We are on Facebook, on YouTube, and of course on myjoyonline.com. If you have any questions or comments to make on the stories we are running this afternoon, they'll be welcome. So, Jerry, let's start with, you are a lawyer, so let's start with the matters that are before the nation now. Yesterday, the Attorney General, in something that is unprecedented in the sense that the case has yet to be put before court, but he addressed a news conference and laid bare the facts, virtually concluding on some of the cases. You are a lawyer. Is this something that is normal, or you think that this is something that must be encouraged, especially as it promotes transparency, as far as the Attorney General is concerned?
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity. I originally addressed the press conference.
Right, before the news conference.
Around 9:30, before the Attorney General.
Right.
And I must say I was very disappointed. I still feel that people who have professional competencies should know when to strike at certain goals. For the Attorney General, who is being, in fact, he was my lecturer. He was my lecturer in the University of Ghana sometime in 2006.
All right.
When I was at the Faculty of Law. And so I've known him as a very calm, smart person. And therefore, for me, this was a departure from the regular norm. In criminal jurisprudence or prosecution, you'd always have to understand that there is the need for one to always be presumed innocent until otherwise found guilty by the court of competent jurisdiction. He didn't say a court of public opinion. Right. He didn't say a court run by the Attorney General. In this arrangement, you see the Attorney General coming up as, first of all, the investigator, second, the prosecutor, and third, the judge.
Is it irregular?
It's very alien. It's so irregular. It's so unprofessional. And I'm very restrained because I've told you, apart from the fact that he taught me in law school, in the Faculty of Law, he's also my senior in Parliament. So if these are some of the things I would have to say, I'm very minded as to how to go about it. But what is unprofessional for me, this matter is on. So let me give you a classic case.
Let's go.
I do not know this Kwabena Adu-Boahene. I have never cited him on this planet. I don't know him. I do not think that the minority leader, Osayin Afenyomaki, knows him as well.
Right.
Afenyomaki knows him as well. But assuming without admitting that he does, how do you come and start rationalizing a certain posture or a certain situation because you have gone to get some assembled evidence? Evidence that in law, if you believe that you are the Attorney General and you have the prima facie case established, why would you want to be the one to be prosecuting the person in the public domain, within the press? If you read, there is a matter I've been looking for, and I just wanted to show you, and that I apparently had wind that he was one of the persons who dealt with the matter. So that's the case of Kwabena Ameni, alias Tagore.
Right.
In the case of Tagore, one of the judges, Justice Apao J.
This is the matter about the cocaine sometime back.
Yes.
Right.
And he says that there was no need to do public crucifixion when in fact you do not have the right to do so. All these people under Article 14.2, when you feel that there is the reason for you to prosecute them, not persecute them,
right,
do so minded with facts, have all the facts. Let there be a prima facie case established. Go into your courtroom. Don't be the investigator. Be the prosecutor. Lay down your facts. Let the judge who is sitting with all the wherewithal, the capacity, be the one to decide that, oh, after having gone through your matter, whatever you are saying is a reason for me to pronounce this person guilty or otherwise.
But Jerry, nothing prevents the AG from telling the nation that this is what we are investigating, and this is what we've got into, and these are the steps we intend taking in the days to come.
Oh, that is excellent. If the AG had just come to say, oh, we are investigating Elton John Bobby, or we are investigating Jerry, or we are investigating Jacob.
Right.
And we intend to go to the next step of seeing how fast we can go ahead to prosecute him. It is fine. It's okay. I mean, that is to a larger extent transparency. But when the AG comes to now prosecute the person and to give judgment, everything is wrong with it.
Yeah.
Because what he did was to call the person guilty, to determine the facts already in the press, in the public domain. And what he's been doing all this while is we should learn to understand simply that we should do these things devoid of the razzmatazz. Don't come and be screaming and be making noise about a certain situation when in fact you have not even given the person hearing. Did they give Adu-Boahene hearing? Has Adu-Boahene come out to say that whatever the Attorney General is saying is true or otherwise?
In fact, according to lawyers for Mr. Adu-Boahene, and in this case, the former member of Parliament for Boahene South, Asamoah Touching.
Yes.
Even as lawyer, he's yet to even have access.
And do you think that under 14.2 of the article of the Constitution that is allowed? You are entitled. The first thing that happens to you the moment you are even tagged a suspect is to be told by whoever is tagging you as a suspect that you, Elton, you are a suspect, you are under investigation, and that you have an entitlement to a lawyer. And that lawyer can stay in doing your questioning, doing whatever you are supposed to go through so that the lawyer will aid you. That's one of the very basic things taught in criminal jurisprudence, in criminal law. But if you want to say that you are even depriving the lawyer from having access to his or her client, that is so unconstitutional. We are not in a banana republic for crying out loud.
To put it in the way that it was said yesterday.
Yes.
And the Attorney General makes the point that
yes,
this man set up a company which for him was illegal.
Yes.
It raises issues about conflict of interest.
Yes.
And then some transfers that were moved from the account of the Signals Bureau to his own private account, the money withdrawn, and then the money was used to purchase some properties that they have identified. And then goes on to make the point that he's even going to protest a bail application that the suspect is seeking the court to do. And even if that is done, he will be arrested and then put behind bars because they need him to be put behind bars to enable them to conclude their investigation. And then makes the point that plea bargaining is allowed in this case. I mean, it makes it look like the court in all of this has been sidestepped in a process where the court has the ultimate decision to make.
Elton, listen, I am actually overwhelmed with so much shock. I'm very shocked. In fact, some people will say shock surprised to the extent of all this narration. First of all, if you are depriving the person of having a lawyer, you are already prejudging the outcome of a bail application. Now, are you the one to grant bail or otherwise? The laws are clear. It says 48 hours. If it is the court that wants to keep the person over 48 hours, the court will decide. Is the Attorney General the judge? And that is how I started with the introduction, that the Attorney General is the investigator, he is the prosecutor, and he is the same Attorney General, is the judge.
If this person is still behind bars, then he's going to be under 48 hours allowed by the Constitution.
Yes. And that tells you the kangaroo approach by which we want to deal with issues. That tells you how we now want to turn upside down the Constitution. This is it. And if you're minded, I can just read.
Right.
And then it says that for 14.1, every person shall be entitled to his personal liberty, and no person shall be deprived of his personal liberty except in the following cases and in accordance with procedure permitted by law. Permitted by law. Then it goes on. In execution of a sentence or order of a court, it did not say in execution of a sentence or order of an attorney general. It says, order of a court in respect of a criminal offense of which he has been convicted. 1. In execution of an order of a court punishing him for contempt. The person has not been cited for contempt. For the purpose of bringing him before a court in execution of an order of a court. And that is normally done by the CID, IOCO, or the security agencies that have the powers to do so. Unless the Attorney General wants me to understand that he's overreaching his ministerial powers, and now he's now the Minister of Interior and National Security, and he's also the Minister of Justice and Attorney General, and he's also the minister, the judge who is already going to sit on this matter. Are you not reading all the biases and the prejudices on this matter?
The Deputy AG yesterday on PM Express says that Mr. Adu-Boahene has been granted bail, but yet to meet the bail bond.
Do you have an idea what the bail bond is?
We don't know yet.
But were you not supposed to have interrogated him? If there is,
but we are told 260, I posted 260 million Ghana cedis bond, plus few other things, some property that they need to verify the title, and if these things are settled, then I'm sure that he can go.
I'm sure you understand all these legal contortions, and you understand all these antics. If you're really a human rights activist, one of the first things you understand is that bail is necessary even for the prosecution of your matter. And then I saw a news item that talked about, oh, the man is a flight risk. How we joking in this country? That a whole state institution, the Ministry of National Security, Ministry of Interior, and Ministry of Justice and Attorney General will allow someone who is under some kind of prosecution would now be allowed to fly out of this country. It's just some sort of antics and contortions, and this is just to deprive the person of his rights. I'm so surprised that at this point in time in this country called Ghana, people are still just violating the rights of people without any recourse to the people they are violating their rights. If you look at 14.2, it says a person who is arrested, and with your permission, a person who is arrested, restricted, or detained shall be informed immediately in a language that he understands of the reasons for his arrest, restriction or detention, and of his right and of his rights, to a lawyer of his choice. What is stopping this man from getting all of this? And it goes on. If you look at 14.3, a person who is arrested, restricted, or detained for the purpose of bringing him before a court in the execution of an order or of a court. It should be based upon reasonable suspicion. It should be based upon some prima facie case that you have established. That there is,
but the investigation and all the facts they put out clearly gives them that right to take that step. But exactly, at the airport, the man was arrested and told of the reason why he was being put under arrest. Handcuffed, according to lawyers for Mr. Adu-Boahene, at the departure lounge, at the arrival lounge at the Kotika International Airport, and taken into a IOCO premises. These facts, according to IOCO and the Attorney General, were established before him, before he was taken into custody.
Before him with a lawyer?
We don't know that for sure.
Yeah, but that is the point. I mean, if somebody comes to arrest you and tells you, prefers a certain charge against you, as we speak, whether or not the man has even been charged is an issue we are dealing with. For him to enter a plea or to say, oh, I'm guilty or not guilty, leave that. Let there be the presence of a lawyer. Let the lawyer be the one guiding the person. I mean, for me, I've told you at the outset, I've known Dr. Dominic Ayeni over the period. I do not think that was what he taught me in the law school. That we should go to the extent of infringing on the rights of people just because we have a certain suspicion.
Why do you say that his right has been infringed upon? Is it because he's not been allowed access to his lawyer?
A lot of things. As we speak, you're talking about a 48-hour period. And you're also telling me that, well, he has been given bail. And then you are giving it. Yes, but you're talking about a bail conditions which you and I know that, assuming that is even the case. Because I don't even think you know the bail condition that we are talking about. But let's assume that it has actually been granted bail. And a bail condition of how much?
260 million.
And the 260 million, is there the need for justification? Are we saying that we are just finding ways and antics to just prevent the person from exerting his rights? I think we should wake up. And another thing, see, what we haven't considered and what the Ghanaian people are beginning to sway their minds off or on is that, first of all, there was a certain oral. Mm-hmm. And so perhaps it is as a result of oral that we are going ahead with such.
They say that this was not part of it.
Okay.
This is something that came up. IOCO undertook their own investigations and then they uncovered this. So this is outside of the orals work presented to the president.
IOCO is dealing with the matter. IOCO, they are a very specialized body, very professional group of men and women working there. And when we do not have political prosecution and political persecutions, you will not have them doing any of these things. And I'm telling you, all we see and know is that if the Attorney General has every reason to prosecute someone, why come to the media? The media is not given the opportunity to Kwabena, whatever is called Adu-Boahene, to come and respond. Does that? I've seen attachments and I brought a copy. And I'm quite excited about his response. Now, if you look at it, it says just a paragraph from the paragraph 3. It says, the power to investigate any Ghanaian for alleged criminal offenses has no party colors.
Right.
It is a painstaking exercise to ensure that the rights of citizens are not abused and their personalities rubbished by those who wield the powers of the state to conduct this sacred exercise. That is all I'm saying. In fact, this is the right summary for me. Your claim is that you have evidence.
Right.
The person is indulged himself in some sort of
some criminal enterprise.
That is your allegation. Now, if the person has engaged himself in whatever criminal enterprise, what you need to do is to go to court. When you go to court, you have your say. The judges will have their way, and they will determine whether or not the person, in fact and in law, actually committed the offense you are talking about. But you have not done so. What you have done is to do, well, in Justice Apao's language, political press crucifixion. That's all you're doing.
The OSP does it sometimes.
And assuming that the OSP does it sometimes, is the OSP the Attorney General? Are we now engaging in a press crucifixion? Is that what we want to do?
So your problem is that the AG shouldn't speak on matters before matters that he's taking to court. You owe it the Ghanaian people.
I remember.
You owe it to the Ghanaian people to tell them that this is what I'm doing. This is what your tax is helping me to do, and this is where I've got into.
I remember the former AG.
Godfrey Yeboah-Dame.
Both Yeboah-Dame and Gloria Kufu. I have never, maybe I was sleeping them, seen them talk about a matter they are prosecuting unless they come out of the... They only did so when they have all the time came out of the courtroom. So when media men would ask them how the matters went, or maybe a judge held or there was a certain ruling, and they perhaps would go ahead to explain. But there was no time that anybody who was ready to be prosecuted, Dami would come and stand, and then he has this money here, and he has this money there, and there's this money under his carpet, and what you have to do, and you banks, we are giving you warning. Who does that? An Attorney General has the power to go to this court of competent jurisdiction to make an application properly so called for a garnishee order to say that we have A, B, C, D information and evidence to the effect that this guy is even engaged in money laundering or is engaged in some fictitious deals, and that's why he's laundered or he's lumped up so much money in his account. We need the court to freeze the account. But you come and do a press conference and then you are threatening the banks. Have you heard that before?
This could be his strategy, and you can't fault him for that.
Oh, I don't even think the banks are going to adhere to him. Me, if I were the bank manager, I'll see this as laughable. Obviously. Did Attorney General register Fidelity?
So Jerry, your concern or your issue is what you describe as the abuse of the rights of the suspect, because clearly
it's not just the abuse of the rights of the suspect; it's abuse of power. It's the weaponization of state institutions for acts that they are not supposed to engage in. I've given you a clear example of Yoko. I've given you a clear example of national security and National Intelligence Bureau, Investigative Bureau. They have professional men and women without the political colorization. Allow them to do their work. And you would be surprised the kind of work they would do. Solid people. But the moment now the Attorney General is the one telling you how to conduct your investigations, how to go ahead to prosecute, and how the judge should also give or make judgments, where are we going to? Are you not seeing this as a political retribution? Are you not seeing this as a political persecution? And especially in cases where we know that people were originally on the list. And all those people have now gone under OCAL. And now we have people on the list who are more on oral.
In the case
I actually read for Manasseh. He talked about OCAL.
In the case of Ahmed Adu-Boahene, he's described as a former civil servant. I mean, there's no political connection to it.
But did you hear that, Attorney General? He did not make that meaning.
So the MPP...
He actually attached him to the MPP. I hear the guy has been there since 2007 or 2008. I do not know the man.
And you are claiming ownership of him? The MPP?
Nobody is claiming ownership of him. I'm only telling you that these were presumptions made by the Attorney General to the effect that he's an MPP person.
I mean, from
he
the
may not have mentioned MPP properly, so-called.
From the records from the NCA, this man was employed in 2015. At the time, former President Mahama was in office. Promoted to deputy in 2016 when the MPP took office, was maintained and also promoted to Director General. So he was employed in the NDC era, transitioned into the MPP era. And now, if the issues about him is true, that is worrying.
So I do not know the issues about him. And that is why it's a problem for the Attorney General to have taken that leap. So allow the judiciary to take the matter in the right way and perform their duties properly. Now you are here. You have formed some prejudices about this man. I am here. I've been thinking, hey, the guy has this number of houses. Hey,
27 houses we are told.
And the guy did so much transfer. We are humans. And therefore, naturally, when certain things are said to us, we'll form opinions. And the judges are human beings. And that is why I'm worried that for the Attorney General who understands that in criminal jurisprudence, you are innocent unless and until proven by a court of competent jurisdiction. Not a court of Dr. Ayune. Not a court of National Democratic Congress. No. And that is why in all of this I have taken a certain stance with Chachuchi Kata. There's something is done which, if that is the case truly, you know, with this, the filing of this knowledge prosecutor and people being freed left, right, center, obviously that's within the domain of the Attorney General. As a legal practitioner, I would not want to question the Attorney General. He may have his facts and briefs, and for which reasons he's decided that, listen, if I go ahead to prosecute this matter, I won't be successful. Right. So I've decided not to. But it's the same Attorney General that came to explain to the whole world why he's filing knowledge prosecutor. We don't do that. So now you open yourself up for people to do what? To criticize you, to ask you questions. And that is what we are doing. And I've told you. And finally, you have even given me better facts. I do not know Kwabena or Kwabena Adu-Boahene. I have never seen it. I didn't even know about his position. I know about the former governor.
Right.
He's not my friend. I may have seen him at a funeral or two, including my uncle's one recently, and said hello. No relationship.
We'll come to that. We'll come to that on that matter. But so this for you is irregular. The AG says he will continue to. He will not grant media interview, but he will continue to update the nation on cases before the office and steps that they are taking or will be taking. You think that it is irregular? If you have facts, you should go to court.
And let me make it very clear. The AG, just like any other minister, has the opportunity or is not incumbent or is stopped from giving some sort of information to the public on cases he intends to prosecute people. I can come and say, I have a list of cases before us, and we intend to go to court on the following matters. One has to perhaps do with stealing, one has to do with defrauding by false pretenses, one has to do with robbery. There's nothing wrong with that. One has to do with causing financial loss. But when you go into details, right, and one of the ones I had, but you know what, we forget so easily. Has the AG forgotten about some of those people who we are supposed to bring to court and they've run away and we can't find them? Right. And you are talking about somebody who he was in South Africa and the person has come to Senegal. When I was listening to that, I felt it was very unfortunate.
And on that, there is a statement, we'll conclude on this one, we'll move to other issues. So two other cases that the AG updated the nation on. The Sky Train, $2 million, he claims that money was paid to a Malaysian company and for no work done, and for that reason constitute financial loss to the state. And then the matter of the National Service Scheme, they have described it as a scandal. And they say that they've questioned 8 people. Some have started singing. They will tell us the song very soon. There are other people, he will not mention their names because they intend to turn them into prosecution witness. The SkyTrain, the chief executive officer of GIF, the former, he released a statement this morning.
Yes.
And in the statement, he makes the point that he left Ghana on Friday, last week Friday, 21st of March, 2025, to Senegal.
Yes.
It was before he left that he got a text message from somebody from the National Security that, I mean, they want to have a meeting with him online. And they agreed to have that meeting tomorrow, Wednesday, 26th of March, 2025 at 4 p.m. Yesterday, the Attorney General made the point that he's hiding. And they've given him up to, the man says he'll be back in 3 months' time. If the man wants to be tried in absentia, it is his option. Now, you hear the comments from the Attorney General and the response coming from the former CEO, giving timelines as when he hopes to meet with the national security people for whatever question they have so that he will respond. And that is actually pending. The date is 4 p.m. tomorrow, Wednesday, 26th of March. And you say that these are all a scheme developed by the NDC administration to tarnish the image of former operatives of the MPP administration.
It's not just a scheme to tarnish the image. It's also a scheme to take the attention of their performance thus far. I mean, you know, Joe FM, what's the young man's name? I so love him, and I intend looking for him today and giving him something from my purse. This is someone who's been pushing the Galamsey project.
Erastus, I don't know.
Erastus. You know that the Galamsey project is becoming so much of a problem. To the extent, I mean, you want to fight Galamsey and then you go and inaugurate a group called Water Guards. Are they going to Water Gardens?
They're supposed to undertake surveillance.
Are you?
According to the minister, and then report to the
so let me deal with it. So you read is it the chief executive?
The former CEO of GIF.
And he's told you his side of the story. And I'm sure you can probe further. I'm sure he can send you a screenshot of the invitation he even had. And there's kind of conversations that have taken, have gone on between him and whoever invited him. And what the Attorney General is also telling the nation called Ghana. They don't think. I mean, if you're an Attorney General with all due deference to you and you believe that some people are singing, you come and have a press conference and say people are singing. If you are the next to be invited, would you go and sing? Because you are singing because you have a certain view that perhaps you'll be giving some plea bargains and, you know, there will be proper negotiations and you'll be left to go. But if I already know that you, the Attorney General, that I'm believing in you, I'm singing, you come and tell me I'm singing.
But the substantive matter is that over 50 million Ghana cedis went into wrong hands during the administration of the MPP, according to the Attorney General's office.
We made a whole lot of noise.
In the matter of the National Service Scheme.
Exactly. We made a whole lot of noise when some of them were not in. I once listened to Nana Boachi when he called into one of your programs, I think PM Express.
Right.
Also. And he had to give proper education on how some of these things work. And he dared whoever the investigator was on that program to perhaps furnish more details of whatever, but whatever the person was saying, he was not in agreement and he did not believe, and that was not the case. When people are given opportunities, right, to have them heard, you would know that the narrative is not always the case. Just the example of the gift, even on the invitation. He's told you that I have had a certain conversation or engagement with the operatives of national security or NIB or Yoko or whoever is inviting me. And we had agreed that I am going to be available on set ABC. And that is okay. And the person on the other side has also agreed that, okay, you can come back in and let's have the conversation. Now the Attorney General comes to paint a picture that, oh, this person is run away, we can't find him, he's all over the place, he's hiding. He's hiding from what? The person just left Ghana. You come and say that somebody is in South Africa and you knew he was in South Africa, he's moved to Senegal. What are you doing about it? What about those who were dealing with issues of mass lock and they've gone? We can't find them. So you can't hear all of these people. We can't. What is this? What's this political retribution? What is this about so much energy into going after people in the public domain? When we as lawyers, one of our trainings is that, everyone is presumed innocent until and otherwise proven guilty by the court of competence.
But the National Service scandal,
yes.
I mean, according to the Office of Attorney General.
It is an allegation.
For now.
It is.
Okay, granted that it is.
Yes.
Why?
It's not granted. It's an allegation.
Right.
The Attorney General has not gone to any court to say that, yes, the Director General or Deputy Director General or whoever did this and that, and therefore the court, haven't we been in court for close to 8 years on matters that MPP was virtually trying? And that is why I want you to have that conversation, that we need to be thinking about structures. So we need to be thinking about institutions working perfectly, independent of whoever is in power. Rather than come and say, during MPP's time, these people were under prosecution or under persecution. Now, there is a new Attorney General. He comes, he files an only prosecutor. All of the people have been cleared. So Operation Clear All Looters. Clear. We have a new clearing agent. Then it comes, replace, remove and replace. You have removed how many people? 7 people or 8 people. Let's replace them with 9 people. Is that what we are saying?
But the NSS, again, back to the matter and the fact that the allegation you say it is, until proven by a court of competent jurisdiction, then it begs the question why somebody on your side, the minority side, would take money from the NSS to try and kill the story in the media.
Is that not also a joke? It's the biggest joke with all due deference to the Attorney General. To come and say that a former MP took money to kill the case. LT.
To kill the story in the media.
But are you saying that me, if I have a matter to deal with, I have to go through another MP before I'll kill the matter? Assuming without admitting that that's the case. That is another joke.
Are you going to challenge the AG to name this particular MP?
He should go ahead and deal with it. If he is able to say that somebody is in Senegal and they can't go for the person, he's able to say that the person was in South Africa and they are not going for the person. You have the impudence to come and stand before the cameras and say that an MP, that's a joke. It's so uncalled for. Very, very uncalled for. Listen, we are within, Ghana is a society that is intricately woven. When people are in trouble, they sometimes lean on others. Assuming without admitting that that is even the case. Is that a matter for public consumption? And there was a certain MP, and the MP, that we are challenging him. I am daring him. He should come and name the MP, and let us see how the MP actually got involved. Why? And then if you come and name an MP to say that, would that amount to you getting the people proven guilty? Really? Has he not spoken to anybody on any matter on this planet to say, I have this thing coming up. I would perhaps need you to talk to this person. Is that wrong?
So it is possible there may be... There may be some behind the scenes move
I cannot tell you whether or not there have been some hand dealings. I can only tell you that sounds like a joke. Assuming without admitting that was actually the case, so what?
But the import of it is the effect it will have on the caucus. The
Which
caucus
caucus?
name may be dragged into the mud.
Which caucus?
The minority caucus.
Did he say that the person came from the minority?
He says a certain member on the minority side.
No. If he said so, I dare him.
Contracted by the leadership of NSS to kill the story in the media.
I dare the Attorney General to name and shame. I dare him. And I'm sitting here to dare him. That, who does this? I mean, a lawyer of your repute, there's even what we call privileged conversation. But if you come and stand before the cameras to say that somebody and a member of parliament who is your colleague, who does that?
On the former governor, he says that everything that was done was constitutionally right. You have had issues with it. I understand that it is one of the reasons why you'll be receiving briefing from the Interior Minister this week to respond to what you describe as raid. They say that it wasn't a raid. They had a court order to undertake search in the home of the former governor. We've heard the reasons, but officially we've not. I have an order signed by a judge. Maybe I can walk you through.
Oh, you do? Please walk me through. I'm interested because I was going to ask you for the order.
So this order that we got. So this is NS Kwabena Adesem, ex-party Suleimana Sule Jr., the applicant in this case, and this is signed by Justice Ali Baba Abaturi, Justice of the Supreme Court. And it was filed on the 12th day of March 2025 in support of motionless party for search arrest warrant. Now, it is hereby ordered that the unnumbered house of the suspect, NS Adesem, who resides in airport residential area in Accra, be searched, arrested by the appropriate security agencies for the purpose of finding and also just a second, for the purpose of finding, preserving items suspected to have been detained or procured through criminal conduct. It is also ordered that any item of evidential value to the investigation being conducted, if found at the above premises, should be searched, retrieved, and preserved by the agencies to assist in investigation. It is further ordered that any person or persons found in the premises who may be engaged in any form of illegal activity should also be arrested to assist in the investigation. This is the order that we have secured.
So thank you for updating me on that. I mean, this is the first time I'm hearing of an order of the court. And I have been clear in my mind that this is an afterthought. I've been clear in my mind that for whatever it is worth, when you have an order of the court, and it's a warrant properly so called, when you get to the premises of the person, you would have to furnish the person with a copy. As you read, it's an ex parte application.
Right.
Ex parte means that the person was not in notice.
Exactly.
Didn't have any form of notice. So if you have come to the person's premises, why would you first of all overpower the security of the person? Because Addison has his security men. What happened on the said date, on that fateful date, was that those security men were overpowered.
According to the AG again, he says that he has recorded conversation.
Yeah, well, I heard that too. I heard that too. I heard that. And I thought that, with all this due respect, that's an unfortunate statement to make, that if you're there, you are going to play, or come and play. And if you play, so what? We are telling you that if you even had a warrant, and this is the first time I'm hearing about the details of the warrant. Every warrant has a scope. You could tell. So he gave the scope. It gave the scope to the extent, because my initial reaction had been that, why take the CCTV camera and then is it amenities or whatever, accoutrement that come with it,
right,
including the SD card? Why would the person now not be assuming that, or let's believe that there was an incident and you did not even take anything? Why would the person now come and tell you that you took something of mine, including money and jewelries? If you went on an operation like this, what you would have to do first of all is to furnish the one you are going into the premises with a copy. The copy would detail out, as properly prescribed by Justice Ali Baba, which would detail out whatever it's in there and would tell you the do's and don'ts. Now, if the allegation is that you got in and then there was the request for, where is your vote? That we are told you have a vote. And then we are also told you have a security camera and you are able to monitor whatever happens in the Bank of Ghana. That is That's funny again. Yes.
Is that the reason why Parliament has invited the Interior Minister to update the House?
Oh, the Interior Minister, I'm sure perhaps there have been some questions which have been filed, and then usually they come in to once a while, depending on the happenings, come and update Parliament on whatever is happening in their respective ministries. So I haven't seen any questions, but I'm sure members may have filed questions, and just to interrogate further what is happening. I mean, I had the opportunity of asking the Minister of Interior and also having additional responsibility of national security. Questions on Akwetia, still coming under a warrant.
Right.
And I asked, did you see the warrant? He says, yes. I said, are you in a position to furnish us with a copy of the warrant? It became a problem. Oh, hey, no, I can't. How? But this is for me an afterthought.
But Jerry, the point here, I mean, we had this conversation. I'm sure that if the Attorney General was seated here, it would justify everything that has happened so far. It looks to me, though, that these matters only come up when there's a change in government. So, and I'm wondering how these matters can be addressed such that we'll have one Ghana where those who have committed crime will be pursued, irrespective of their political colours.
And another thing. If you were running for presidency now, I'll just vote for you just because of this. I do not care. I am a strong member of the New Patriotic Party. I believe in our ideas and ideals. But what I do not believe in is political persecution and prosecution. What I do not believe in is the partisanship at which everything is considered. When you have structures, institutions working effectively, and I've told you, without a shadow of doubt, you go to Yoko. I am telling you, apart from being a practitioner, I've also been there on few occasions, and they have been very solid.
Yoko.
Obviously, come to national security, very, very solid. Until recently, I went to national security on an election, weightlifting election. Then we got national security people to come and ransack the place.
The election of new executives.
Yes, about 80 people. What has national security got to do with weightlifting? It is all political. Go to CID. Now, the one who is the lady who is even in charge. Professional. So why are we doing this to Mother Ghana? Why are we being political and partisan with everything? Listen, today, just before coming, but I was staying because I needed to make a statement, contribute to a statement on the Black Stars and their
performance in the last few days.
I wanted to do so very dispassionately because, now, I saw a post from deputy communications person at the presidency, virtually saying that Black Stars are doing well because there is a certain president and then there is a certain government in power. And then you see the YEA guy also post JDM is back, Black Stars are back. That is unnecessary and unfortunate. We are politicizing everything. Partisanship has taken charge of everything. Galamsey, those who are making a lot of noise, most of them have gone to sleep. Even some of the CSOs, they have become partisan. They become political. So where is Mother Ghana going? That's why I said to you, if you are running today, and I know you can let me understand that Ghana is what matters to you and not necessarily parties. I am going to vote for you and I won't mind.
All right. Let's spend some few minutes on your constituency because I know that you need to head back to Parliament. This week you are rising, and you will rise with the passage of the appropriation.
Yes.
And then few other things that you will do. I mean, you are a first timer, and lucky for you, I mean, first timers always find themselves at the back bench. You are not on the back bench. You are on the front row as deputy whip, and that for me, that came to me as a big surprise. Clearly, the party has seen something great in you.
Yeah. Well, I think that first of all, I need to give God all the reverence. I need to give thanks to God. It actually came in as a surprise. And I will take this opportunity to thank the National Council, including the Council of Elders and National Chair and General Secretary, and then the leadership in Parliament. So there are original 4.
Right.
By God's grace, all of them were maintained. I came from nowhere than my beautiful wage Agbawi. And I do not know. I think that is just by divine favor. And perhaps maybe some works they may have seen me do and believe that I can be there. And when my name came up, I hear it was thunderous. It was very welcoming. And I find myself in the front seat. But it is not easy. It is not. That's why I'm here today. You know me, I would have run away
Of course. I mean,
it's not easy.
We've been trying to get you. I mean, the work of the whip is quite...
It's not.
I mean, you don't sleep. You are always on the move 24/7.
I've had a lot of people ask me what's wrong with me. Are you well? Are you okay?
Yeah.
It's the stress sometimes. You need to be... Look, the workload is huge. It's huge because, fortunately for me, I have people who are always very supportive. The leader, Osai Afenyo Marking, very supportive, and he wants you to learn, gives you the opportunities. Then you have the chief whip, and then you have my own Madama part. You know, always trying to, and then you have the my immediate boss, in the person of Abibi Drisu.
Yes.
All of these people are very supportive, and they always want you to learn. So there are a lot of things you have to do at a certain point in time. It doesn't come easy.
It doesn't. And then also you have to also duly represent your people.
I have been to my constituency early in the morning to deal with issues because originally I had to come to Parliament to do some work. Left back from Parliament around 5:30 a.m. to go back to the constituency. And I think with some media personalities, because about 2 weeks ago we suffered some tidal waves.
Right.
Yes, and we have a place called Kele, and about 60 homes have been submerged. And
in the constituency?
Yes, in the constituency. It's a coastal community, but we have a place by Uaboma and Pambros, so it's behind Pambros. It's called Kele. And I had to go in and do some of this, and you need to. And my campaign was the type that I was always available. So even for this month that people don't really get to see. So what I do normally is to go to 7, 8 churches on Sundays, still doing a thank you tour, and then do a lot of funerals and weddings and outdoorings, just because these are the times I even get. But every Saturday, even this Saturday and Sunday, we were in Parliament. My uncle died. I was supposed to be at the funeral. I was shuffling between my uncle's funeral and then Parliament. It's crazy. But I know the people understand. They know I'm up to the task and I'm working towards it.
But apart from the tidal wave that is based on people, what are the other issues that requires attention in the constituency? I'm asking because before going to Parliament, you serve as CEO of the Coastal Development Authority, meaning you are very much aware of the challenges.
Weja is my home, so Weja Agbawe is my home. I know. So when you look at education, there are a lot of schools that need some restoration into the right order. They need some refurbishments. They need some furniture. And especially when you meet with the teachers, they are very generous people. They don't even think about themselves. They think about the teaching environment for their pupils.
Right.
So education, we need to do a lot more. Health. Fortunately, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo built us one of the beautiful children's hospital. Unfortunately, he did not commission it before leaving because he had a lot of projects he was commissioning up there. That is almost done. Our prayer is that I'll meet the Minister of Health, so quickly we'll do that. We still need some support with ambulances, especially for the Muslim community, because, you know, they handle their crops differently. So that's one of the things we also... The major problem in Weja Agbawe, our drains and our roads.
I remember the flooding some time back.
So that's where I'm coming in. In fact, I intend to make a statement on flooding at least by Thursday, before we go on recess. Major is our drains and our roads. In fact, a certain portion of Weja Agbawe, if you are not careful, you will think that you are not in Accra. The
regional minister is past 4, so meaning she's getting ready to... she has an address on flooding situation in the Greater Accra region. I mean, sort of preparing the region ahead of the possible flooding. And I'm guessing that Weja Agbawe will feature promptly.
Well, if it doesn't feature, then she's not a minister in Greater Accra.
But what should be done?
One of the major areas that suffer flood is Weja and Botiano because of the geography of the area, the topography of the place. So one of the things you need to do is to get them big storm drains. Storm drains, get their drains done in some areas, which I have done a lot, and they will tell you before getting it. I've built one of the nicest astroturfs in Wejagba whilst in Koda. I'm doing another one just because they've been changing government. There've been some few suppressions, but we are going to get back in deeper and better. And they are going to enjoy their services. They will see that this is an MP who is the people's MP.
Before we go, the minority had issues with some aspect of the budget that you say you would not support. Are you still on that matter?
Oh, it depends on the specific ones. For instance, I still do not understand why 2.7 billion is going to the Office of Government Machine. I still do not understand why about 70 million or 73 million is going to research when you are using 51 million, a priority project like the Women's Bank. And what I hear is that they are going to take off Maslock. So you are taking off Maslock and you are bringing 51 million for the very well-touted Women's Bank. And then when we ask you about 24-hour economy, the president in his SONA says that he will come. He is doing the SONA, but the Minister of Finance will bring details of the SONA. The Minister of Finance comes and says the policy is not ready. So what were you thinking about?
You have met the man in charge of the 24-hour economy program at the president.
Did you know what happened in Parliament?
You tell me.
No.
Because it was a closed door.
No single person from the minority asked him a question because we did not even see what was in there. There was no basis whatsoever. We actually didn't realize that, were they waiting for us to profile advice or suggestions to them? Because you come and read to 24 and you are now telling me about import substitution and export promotion. Haven't you always known about that? Is that not the reason why we have 1D, 1F? President Akufo-Addo started Agenda 111. President Mahama comes during SONA to tell us that Agenda 111, no, I am going to privatize it. How many Ghanaians are going to be able to pay for private hospitals to attend? I have a certain critical mindset. I have two Bible quotations for them. One, they should look at it, and it's good. If you have your Bible, you can read. If you read, President Mahama, this is third term as president.
Right.
He came after President John Evans Atta-Mills. May his soul rest in perfect peace. So that's JM1 or JDM1. Then JDM2 after his own. Then now, go and read John 3:3. He needs to. He says, verily, 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 I say unto you. You can Google and see. He needs to repent, change, be born again, and stop all these settings. The settings now, those maybe I'll be found. Settings. And one thing that Elton, for me, was more exciting is that I also had the opportunity of reading, I think it's Isaiah 43, that talks about divine reset. And do you know what divine reset talks about? I can show you. I mean, if you permit me, I'll Google and show you. Divine reset talks about when you have changed from your old ways of doing things. You have departed from all your usual ways of doing things, and you are now a proper born again. You are towing a particular line that will have the blessings of God. Do you know what we see? Settings in settings here. I'm giving you Women's Development Bank. 51 million. Meanwhile, I'm taking 73 to Felix Fosikwachi's office. I'm giving you agric, a whole of agric. All these are our solid cocoa farmers who have been working and doing so much. You are giving them close to 924 million cedis. What are you going to use that for? Meanwhile, OGM is 2.7 billion.
Okay, but still, you support the
we are doing what is constructive. We are doing what is okay.
Okay.
All this debate on the floor of Parliament, we've told them our part. If they still feel the need to go ahead, it is okay. Do you know how much is going to big push? Say big push.
10 billion. 10 billion, that was the proposed.
And do you know how much is in there for the budget? Do you know how much? What are they going to push? Meanwhile, KPS at Jubilee is 100 million. KPS, what are they going to do at Jubilee with 100 million? When Women's Bank is 51 million. There's also another aspect he has to take a serious look at. The affirmative action law. Okay, and the need to make sure that they need to ensure that the 30% cut-off point is met.
All right.
And therefore, what is happening to the 4? President Jerry Rawlings' daughter, the solid, sharp lady, she's still there. Nobody is paying attention to her. And several of them, very solid people. All he is doing is Ofabakwa. You take the letters and they start, oh, Julius, Mama Baku, revocation.
We'll leave it here for now. Jerry, thank you so much for coming to Jerry Ahmed. There is a deputy whip on the minority side in Parliament, member of Parliament for Weja Gbawe. Of course, after the budget passage, we will have more time to talk about the constituency and a few other matters that I wanted to talk about. Sam George and then the dismissal of 100 people from Ghana Post.
Can you imagine?
63 radio stations, their license suspended for now, pending some investigation. But we'll do some more on this one. Let's take a short break right here on the pause and return with more. We're back. This is the pause here on Joy News. Now let's do some other stories now. And former majority leader Osei Mensah-Bonsu has questioned the competence of persons mandated with the establishment of the Gold Board. According to him, people being taxed for the purpose lack competence and work experience to deliver efficiency. He spoke at a public dialogue on the 2025 national budget organized by the Kumasi Bloc members of Parliament. And Ojima has more in this report.
By the NDC's manifesto promise, the Ghana Gold Board is being established to regulate the small-scale mining sector. The acting CEO of the Precious Minerals and Marketing Company, Same Jemfi, is tasked to lead the formation of the Gold Board. Already, the group has been meeting and soliciting views from players in the mining industry. The former Swami MP, Osei Mensah-Bonsu, has lauded the idea but is questioning the competence of persons leading the charge.
It's a good intent that they've expressed. You expect to populate the board with people with demonstrable competencies in commodity training and so on. Okofa obia sabi previous. Onya adwuma bi ada. As a job for the boys. Omansi ka akọ. Yemfa nkọhye sankofo ne nsemu a. If we get it wrong at the very outset, it will be dangerous for us as a country.
The Kumasi dialogue by the parliamentarians was themed assessing the 2025 budget, implications for Kumasi's development and the way forward. Touching on some thematic areas of the budget, the former MP questioned the legality of the allowances to be paid assembly members.
Was it the emoluments of a presiding member of a district assembly and other members of the assembly shall be determined by the district assembly and paid out of the assembly's own resources. That's the constitution they come. It is the president say, where is he going to get the money from? President is going to come out of public funds, especially the consolidated fund. But constitution also say, I know they want to be for one. Now, a friend is a finance minister, so any local government minister, almost allowance or salary. That is laughable. I didn't think because the constitution defines emoluments to include allowances.
On gender perspective, Mr. Osei Mensah-Bonsu says budgetary allocation for the Women's Bank is inadequate.
With the capital requirement for the establishment of banks set at $400 million, which was equivalent to $100 million at the time it was determined. What can 51 million cedis, which is now equivalent to $3.2 million, do for the 17 million women of Ghana? Now, contained in the 51 million is the amount required to establish the bank.
The former MP indicated the economic conditions of the Ashanti region will be improved with proper environmental practices that will reduce galamsey and impact positively on cocoa and timber productions. For Joy News, Nana Ojima, Kumasi.
Right, so let's ask some questions, and let me bring in Dr. Daniel Enim. He is Chief Economist at PIED. And Dr. Enim, good afternoon and welcome to the program. Right, so good to have you here. The former majority leader is, first of all, questioning the competence of some people who are on the Gold Board. The question is, does anyone need special expertise to manage this novelty that government is seeking to roll out to bring in more revenue for the state?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think it is a call in the right direction that people who are appointed to manage public institutions should have the competence and then the capacity to do so. But my view, respectfully, is that looking at the composition and then those who have, it appears they may have a certain level of, experience, a certain level of capacity to be able to direct the affairs of the institution. In respect of the good board, what I will recommend is that professionals should be appointed as, people who will be working with the board and then the CEO, which is very important. So for instance, we need to have experts, people who have the understanding of how marketing of mineral resources are done, people who have understanding of, international trade and policy should be able to should be employed to assist the CEO in terms of the direction of the good board to be able to perform the required function. That is one thing. Now, aside that, we need that commitment from government to be able to ensure that the set objective of the good board, they are allowed to perform in a manner that will yield the necessary result. We all understand, if you take our political history, we have created a lot of vehicles, okay, with the propensity of ensuring that we enhance our natural resources or blocking the loopholes within our public financial system administration. But at the end of the day, political interference and manipulations defeat that very purpose. So as much as I agree that people with the required competence and then the experiences are supposed to drive this particular good board, equally same, government should be able to give those who have been appointed that free room to work and operate as professionals. If that is done, then my view is that the intended objective for establishing the good board could be actualized.
The finance minister, Dr. Kesela Tuforsen, is on record saying that an estimated $1.2 billion in gold revenue in 2022 was lost due to illegal smuggling. The illicit outflow of 60 tons of gold came at the peak of the country's economic crisis. Now, we also heard from the Chief Executive Officer of the Precious Minerals Marketing Company, Sami Jemfi, that when the gold board is finally given legal backing, it will be illegal for anyone to sell gold outside the gold board. You think that if this is really institutionalized, it will be the game changer in terms of realizing the entire revenue that should come from this particular sector?
Yes, in principle, that is supposed to be so. But in terms of practice, we need to go beyond just ensuring. That is where the political interferences and manipulation ought to be. Because we could create this system, we could have the law, the legal backing. Politicians will create a gap or a loophole where, proceeds and then a mechanism where they could export gold and other mineral resources outside the jurisdiction for their benefit. So that's the reason which my focus is on the political commitment to ensure that the board and then the executive are given the room to be able to work as professionals, so that at the end of the day, the intended revenue that we'll get from this particular vehicle will inure to the benefit of the country. So I agree, if they have the legal backing and they are able to work very well, we will be able, because I have read some years ago that the data released by Dubai in terms of the gold export was more than what we have captured in our books.
Absolutely. In fact, the former vice president.
This lacuna.
Yes. I was talking about the fact that the former vice president, Dr. Mamadou Bawumia, collaborates this when he met with some authorities from Dubai, and this came to light.
Yes, certainly so. So the point I'm driving at is, look, beyond the legal backing, beyond creating of a gold board, the most important thing is that the political manipulation that ought to be taken from that particular space. If that is taken from that space, then my view is that respectfully, they should be able to work in a manner that will inure to the benefit of the country, to improve our revenue, and also even to enhance the local currency, as well as curtail inflationary pressures. So it is a very good initiative on paper, but the implementation, as we know, is we must take politics out of the space, and we must ensure that we are working in the interest of the nation. If that is done, there's a fantastic vehicle, a fantastic idea that will endure to the benefit of the country. And
my final question will be taking out the political interference. If the board is being modeled a lot, I mean, in the shape of cocoa board, where cocoa beans are solely to be sold to Ghana Cocoa Board. Even with that, we have instances of smuggling to neighboring countries here and there. What can we do to get this right, such that every gold that is mined will end up with the board, apart from the political interference?
I think one of the things we could do is employing technology. Okay, and that's the reason why the former vice president agenda of digitalizing the economy is a very good cause. That my view is that this government must also continue with. See, technology is the way. It doesn't mean that people may not be to the system, but it minimizes whatever human interface and interference and any malfeasance that it may bring about. So technology is the key in putting in the right structures and ensure transparency and accountability. If that mechanism and that internal control mechanism is put in place, then my view that is to be able to work. Look, in this country and the other part of Africa, we do post-audit rather than pre-audit. So you need a pre-audit mechanism, and that is where internal control mechanisms become very important and critical in ensuring that you minimize any opportunity for individuals that may, exploit the system for their personal interest.
All right. Doc, let's leave it here for now. Thank you so much, Dr. Your name is Chief Economist, PIED. And let me take you back to Parliament. The Minister for Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation, Samuel George, has announced that 57, and now we are learning 63 radio stations, face the possibility of having their frequencies suspended due to regulatory violations. However, the minister emphasized that the suspension is not a punitive action, but rather an opportunity for the affected stations to address their infractions and comply with broadcasting regulations before resuming operations. In the press briefing today, Mr. Nate says 3 of the 6 radio stations recently suspended have already fulfilled their requirement for the restoration of their frequencies. The Ghana Independent Broadcast Association is a key player in the Ghanaian media landscape, and its president, Cecil Sunkwamils, joins us for a quick chat on this matter. Mr. Mills, good afternoon. And already we have been told 57 radio stations stand the risk of having, their operations closed down if immediate steps are not taken by them to meet what the minister says their violations of some regulations as enshrined in the Communication Act of 775. And if you can kindly unmute for me, sir.
Sorry. Yeah.
Right. So we are back to the same issues. Yeah, yes. we are back to the same issue of radio stations going through this ritual. Now, 57 of your members may have their licenses even revoked if they don't comply with what the minister says, their violations of some portions of the Electronic Communication Act of 775.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. I think this exercise may have started about a month ago, and in fact a bit more than a month ago. And when they did start, we actually have had 2 engagements. One actually with the minister, and the other was with the Director General, the Acting Director General of the NCA. Those visits covered other things, but we also took the opportunity to discuss the issue of the authorization, possible revoking of people's authorization. Now, after the meetings, we got a clear understanding that, okay, this was more of an administrative and regulatory procedure.
Right.
But what we asked is there is the opportunity to assist stations reform. So after that meeting, what we have actually gone out to do is we actually did send out a circular. Of course, it went through the membership, and we asked for stations that had either received letters or were not sure about their status in terms of renewal of their authorizations to reach out to our secretariat. I think to date we've had contact with over 30 stations, and my brother, the reasons are numerous. Some are short payments, some are full payments, some are there are quite a number of things for stations to do to meet all the regulatory issues.
Right.
But in some, because there are different cases in each case, what we're doing is we're tabulating, and out of the first sample, we actually will engage again. But we have already directed some stations and guide them on to follow up with the NCA specific desks to do simple things. But we are planning an engagement again with the NCA, because I think we can still reach out and help support a number of stations who are partially compliant, but not fully compliant to meet all the regulations that they're supposed to meet. There are different, each station has its different problem. It's very different from stations who have completely refused to pay, and those are very different and very clear stations. But for those who may have shortfalls in terms of meeting some of the requirements, you have things like even the list of your stat audited account, a number of things that you need to do to make sure that you meet. So we are currently we have a framework that we're working with, and it's important to mention that the NCA has been open to work with us, so that we can actually have those who are partially compliant to become fully compliant. And for those who,
yes, please go on.
And for those who also have other issues, none of them have actually come to us. So, those who come to us and actually need assistance, we try to get that assistance for them with the regulator. So in the second meeting is to create a framework that we can actually support stations to look at how they can become fully compliant and not lose the authorizations.
Mr. Mills, are there also ethical issues? Because the GJA some time back, complained about some content on radio that for them doesn't sit well. Are there also ethical issues being raised by the NCA in this regard?
Yeah, so with the NCA, when it comes to content, the NCA does not directly deal with content issues based on what you are broadcasting, etc. They may only take an instruction probably from national security in specific situations where they would be instructed to actually close down a station. So that arm actually will be sitting more with the National Media Commission. So we are focused on the requirements that the NCA needs and the guidelines, and we need to help our stations. In some situations, we realize there's even a gap between who holds the documentation between the owners, and the people who are actually managing the station.
Right.
So probably in some cases where the owner may have received a letter, the management has not actually received the letter to go through and act on putting things together. So there are little gaps, but we are hoping and praying that we try to get those who are partially compliant to be compliant.
But you would say that these infractions are solvable?
Well, so far, some of the people who have come through to us are making an attempt. People have reached out. In fact, in some cases, payments have been made, and the payments have gone to accounts which are not supposed to go or have not reflected the right instructions. So they are little administrative. So we will try and clean out as much as possible to have stations who want to be compliant to be. But if you are completely off the ball, that's a different ballgame.
All right, Mr. Mills, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. And that he is the man in charge of the Independence Broadcasters Association, GIBA. And the news is that the NCA, the Ministry of Communication, they've given notice. They've suspended license of 57 radio stations across the country because they have violated the games or the rules of engagement as far as this matter is concerned. This is the pulse here on Joy News. Let me take you to the Ashanti region. The Regional Anti-Illegal Mining Task Force insists on raiding all forest reserves in the region of illegal mining activities. Now, acting Regional Security Coordinator, Captain Retired John Kwame Jabari, says their sustained operations in the forest reserves are yielding positive results. The task force recently carried out raids in the Offenso Shelter Belt and Kotokum Forest, where a member of the Forestry Commission's Rapid Response Team was slashed with a machete by an illegal miner. Nane Aljima has more in this report.
The Rapid Response Team of the Forestry Commission moved to the Offenso Shelter Belt to stop the invasion of the forest by illegal miners. It is reported that the team was ambushed by the armed illegal miners, leading to a violent attack on the commission's officer who sustained injuries in the knee after being slashed with a machete. The Ashanti Regional Anti-Illegal Mining Task Force raided the forest after the incident. Acting Regional Security Coordinator Captain Retired John Jabari says some excavators were demobilized for onward transportation in the exercise.
Most of the time, when those who use those machines see you, the boats, they take away the keys of the excavator. So it will be difficult for you to use the low bed to move those machines. So what we also do is that we immobilize it so that later we'll bring the low bed to come and pick those machines from the site and send it there. So currently, you see that we have removed their control boards, we have moved the batteries, we have moved the pedals. So tomorrow, we can bring people to come and fix them back and pick those machines away. So currently, as we have demobilized it, they cannot move them. So tomorrow, we can bring low beds to come and pick them and send them to where they are supposed to be sent to.
The Regional Anti-Illegal Mining Task Force has waged war on mining in forests and water bodies, leading to some arrests. Captain Retired Jabari claims most forest reserves are out of control of illegal miners.
The young men or the group which came there just arrived there with their machines. So that alerted the forestry guards to go there. And that incident happened. So it was not like the people were already mining at the place that they got there, because I can confidently tell you that all the forest reserves within Ashanti region has been gotten rid of all illegal miners within them. The only thing that is left is the reclamation phase of that size, which is supposed to be done within those forest reserves.
But the claim has been refuted by environmental journalist Erastus Asare-Donko.
Let's not start jubilating and putting figures out that we have totally reclaimed or clawed back all forests from illegal miners in Ashanti region. It's not true. We'll tell him. Bekwai has been very stable. For that one, I'll make a concession. Not because RESEC or anybody has been fighting anything there. But from the previous administration, the commander in Bekwai has been staunch and unrelenting. And he says that if you go in there, I will burn your excavators. He has burnt a number of excavators in Bekwai forest. And now that place is a no-go area. He has been consistent with Apamprama, and Apamprama has been quiet for some time now. But we know there are other areas. Watreso, Apemkru, and its environs, there are people in there. If you talk to farmers who go to their farms, they will tell you that this is far from over.
Meanwhile, the Anti-Illegal Mining Task Force has resolved to operate a 24-hour surveillance to sustain efforts to rid the forest of illegal miners.
And we have realized that some of them have now started mining in the evening. During the daytime, they park their machines, and at night, they go and operate. So we are going to operate a 24-hour Galamsey operation so that we also tackle them in the night. We have those who tackle them during the day, and we also have a team to tackle them during the night. So it's not something that we are sitting down on. But I must also stress that within the period of next week, we are going to invite the media with the Forestry Commission, and we are going to go round all the forest reserves with the media men to show them the forest reserves that we have reclaimed or we have taken back from those illegal miners.
For Joy News, Nonaya Ochima, Kumasi.
All right, so this is the policy on Joy News. The administrator of the District Assembly's Common Fund is going to swear in ceremony at the Jubilee House. Let me take you there now.
Thank you very much. We'll kindly invite His Excellency the President to do us the honors by signing the oath book, please. Thank you, Mr. President. I now have the distinct pleasure to invite His Excellency the President to make his remarks. Mr. President, please. A round of applause.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, the Vice President, the Chief of Staff, Senior Staff of the Presidency, Honorable Ministers of State, members of the Council of State, and our friends from the media. On Friday, March 21st, 2025, I received formal communication from Parliament confirming the unanimous approval of my nominee for Administrator of the District Assembly's Common Fund, Mr. Michael Harry Yamson. His appointment was made in line with Article 252(4) of the 1992 Constitution and Section 3 of the District Assembly's Common Fund Act 1993, Act 455, which mandates the President with parliamentary approval to appoint a competent individual to oversee the management of the fund. I wish to extend my gratitude to the Right Honourable Speaker and the Honourable Members of Parliament for their swift and diligent vetting process, ensuring that nominees for key executive roles are thoroughly assessed and promptly approved. The level of efficiency and commitment to strengthening governance and upholding institutional integrity is deeply appreciated. In my recent address in Tamale, the Northern Region, I emphasized the crucial role that every part of Ghana must play in our nation's development. For Ghana to reach its full potential, we must harness the unique strengths of our diverse geographical, cultural, and social systems. Every village, town, city, or district has unique advantages, and when fully utilized, these advantages contribute significantly to our collective progress as a nation. Our development strategy must therefore be inclusive, ensuring that no part of this country is left behind. The framers of the 1992 Constitution recognized this fundamental developmental principle, and as a result, embedded decentralization and local governance as foundational pillars of our democratic framework. They understood that empowering local communities is essential to unlocking the full potential of our human and natural resources. To ensure effective governance at the local level, the Constitution not only established a governance structure for decentralized administration, but also made provision for its financing through the District Assembly's Common Fund. This system was designed to ensure equitable resource distribution, allowing every district to contribute meaningfully to national development. In effect, it allowed the districts to take their destinies into their own hands. However, in recent years, the District Assembly's Common Fund has faced significant challenges that have undermined its ability to fulfill this constitutional objective. The introduction of the Earmarked Funds Capping and Realignment Act of 2017, Act 947, significantly reduced the financial resources that were made available to district assemblies, and thereby restricting their capacity to undertake critical development projects. Although the provisions of this act affecting the District Assembly's Common Fund were eventually declared as constitutional by the Supreme Court, the period during which it was enforced had a profound impact on local governance, depriving districts of much-needed funds and stalling essential infrastructure and social services. In addition, successive delays in the release of the fund, and in some instances, the failure to remit the constitutionally mandated 5% of total national revenue have severely disrupted local governance operations. These setbacks have led to stalled infrastructural projects, inadequate service delivery, and growing frustration among local administrators and communities who depend on these funds for essential development. If we are to truly uphold the spirit of decentralization and inclusive growth, we must correct these shortcomings and ensure that the District Assembly's Common Fund functions as it was originally envisioned, to empower local governments and accelerate national development from the grassroots. That's the Minister of Local Government clapping. You can be sure he's the happiest man here. To address these challenges and restore the District Assembly's Common Fund to its rightful role as a catalyst for local development, we must ensure that its administration is placed in capable hands. The complexity of managing such a critical national resource demands strong financial expertise, strategic foresight, and an unwavering commitment to transparency and accountability. The administrator must not only have a deep understanding of governance and public finance, but also possess the leadership qualities necessary to drive efficiency, enforce compliance, and implement reforms that enhance the fund's impact. It is with these high standards in mind that I decided to nominate Mr. Michael Harry Yamson, a seasoned strategist and governance expert whose extensive experience makes him well equipped to navigate the challenges ahead and reposition the District Administration Common Fund as an effective tool for decentralized development. This is where the applause is deserved. His career has been defined by a commitment to operational excellence, accountability, and sustainable growth, with extensive expertise in financial systems, investment planning, and corporate governance. He possesses the critical skills required to effectively manage national resources and drive impactful reforms. Another applause is deserved here. You can clap anytime you want, yeah? His integrity, visionary leadership, and results-oriented mindset make him well-suited to lead the DACF at this crucial time. Now his responsibilities. As administrator of the District Assembly's Common Fund, Mr. Yamson, you'll be expected to prioritize financial discipline, operational efficiency, and enhance transparency. You are to ensure that the fund will implement accountability-driven processes, ensuring that district assemblies receive the necessary resources to accelerate grassroots development and enhance service delivery across the country. I'm confident that you will bring your extensive experience in institutional reform and financial management to strengthen the DACF's operations and position the fund as a key pillar of Ghana's decentralization agenda. Beyond the need for competent administration of the fund, my government fully recognizes that timely, efficient, and adequate disbursement of resources is equally critical to the success of local governance. A well-managed District Assembly's Common Fund can only achieve its intended impact if the central government remains committed to ensuring that funds are released on schedule and in full. And I know why he clapped about in full. It is with this understanding that in the 2025 budget, we have made a firm commitment to remitting at least 80% of DACF allocations directly to the districts. In the past, in some cases, as much as 47% of the Common Fund was dispersed from the center, leaving very little at the discretion of the assemblies. This policy is designed to eliminate unnecessary delays, reduce bureaucratic inefficiencies, and empower local authorities to plan and execute development projects with certainty. By strengthening the financial autonomy of district assemblies, we are not only reinforcing the constitutional principle of decentralization and equitable development, but we're also ensuring that communities across Ghana receive the resources they need to drive economic growth, infrastructure expansion, and essential public services. My government is committed to instituting robust monitoring and evaluation mechanisms to ensure that the fund allocations are used effectively and transparently. Our objective is to ensure that every CD is accounted for and directed towards projects that improve the lives of our citizens. To achieve this, we'll collaborate with Parliament, civil society, and local stakeholders to enhance oversight, eliminate inefficiencies, and promote best practices in fund management. I believe that this approach will restore public confidence in the DACF and maximize its impact as a driver of equitable development, job creation, and improved service delivery. By strengthening decentralization, we'll ensure that every region receives the necessary support to thrive, fostering national progress and shared prosperity. As Administrator, Mr. Yamson shall be at the forefront of this effort. The task ahead demands collective effort, transparent administration, efficient implementation, and community engagement. When we invest wisely in local government today, we secure national progress for generations to come. On behalf of the administration, Mr. Yamson, I congratulate you once again and wish you the very best in your new role. May your tenure be marked by progress, efficiency, and impactful service to our beloved nation. I thank you, and may God bless our homeland, Ghana.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I believe a resounding applause is in order. Thank you, Mr. President. Now is the turn of the Administrator of the District Assembly's Common Fund to reaffirm the charge that is before you, reaffirm the commitment. So with the shall we please welcome him with an applause as
Your Excellency, Mr. President, Excellency, Madam Vice President, permit me to stand on the established protocols. I'm indeed very grateful for the honor done me by this appointment to be the Administrator of the District Assembly's Common Fund. The call actually arrived at 41 minutes past midnight. I don't think I'll forget it. And the Honorable Minister for Finance said, where you are going is very important. Are you ready? And I said I was. And since then, I've thought long and hard about the charge. In simple terms, it is to reduce the inequalities in development and to help those communities, whether they are found in municipalities or metropolitan areas or our districts, that suffer deprivation of many kinds, in health, in access to water, in education, and simple things like tarred roads. My task, and that of my team, is to ensure that over the next 4 years, we do justice to these areas and these people. It is not a task that the administrator can do by himself or herself. It requires close collaboration with the Minister for Local Government, and I'm glad to see how enthusiastically he has received all the comments of the President. It also, as the President said, demands that the central government through the Finance Ministry regularly, timeously, and in full deliver to the DACF the funds required to support these activities. And Mr. President, I can confirm to you that we are almost done with the formula for 2025, and we have just crossed the 80% mark. I'm not quite touching 81 yet.
Right, so the new administrator for the District Assembly's Common Fund now taking office fully. Well, folks, that's our show for today. We'll have more on this in subsequent bulletins. That's our show for today. For more stories, log on to our website, myjoyonline.com. Whatever you are up to in the hours ahead, I hope it's profitable. My name is Elton Brobe. Have a good evening.